Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to Real Reds Talk, your favourite football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. It's transfer deadline day. Hope you've all got your coffee ready because it's absolutely going off with Manchester United today. And look, I had a things I want to discuss with Ericsson and Ten Hag's quotes and something, but let's be real. The real big news coming out of Manchester United at the minute is that Manchester United are in talks about a transfer for Marcel Sabitzer, currently of Bayern Munich. Now, Sabitzer wants to leave. United are pushing in talks with Bayern. Discussions ongoing on the formula of the deal. Apparently there was news that Chelsea were in talks with it, but that he sees United more of a priority. And the Telegraph reported there is a strong chance United will sign Marcel Sabitzer out of nowhere, absolutely out of nowhere. Shreyas, talk to me, bro.
I mean, I actually didn't expect us to actually go for anyone. Like, even after Eriksen got injured, I actually thought that, now that I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll pretty much know who the new owners of Manchester United will be. The Glazers won't really be looking to even spend a penny. So, I mean, considering we're going in for someone like Sabitzer, who, he is a talented professional at Bayern Munich. Um, he had a very, very impressive time at RB Leipzig, and he has been struggling to get regular game time at Bayern Munich. But I mean, if you've got players like Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich to actually, displace of the team, you're going to struggle in getting game time. So I think definitely he's a very talented player to look into. And we could be far worse. I mean, if you have to just look into options to just fit into a position, going in for a bargain, basically like this is pretty much a deadline deal. We panic buying at the moment, but I think Sabitzer, even as a panic buy, is a pretty decent option to have rather than
Yeah.
going in for someone like we signed Ighalo a few seasons back. So I think if you have to compare it to that, it is a pretty good situation to be in that aspect. And yeah, I think Sabitzer coming in, I mean, we were crying out loud for another midfielder, and we desperately needed one because Fred can't do that job which Ericsson is able to do on the pitch. McTominay cannot be, even though he is good when it comes to being around the box, he isn't the eight which the Eric Ten Hag system requires. And pretty much then we are left with youngsters in Zidane Iqbal and Kobe Mainu, who I think it would be a very, very big step up for them to, regularly start getting minutes like 90 minutes every single week and feature in the big games for United. And it brings a whole, different level of pressure to the youngsters. So yeah, I think Sabitzer in that aspect is a very, very good, it's a good deal for United. And probably, if we are able to get him, Ten Hag might be able to get a very, very good player out of him.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to talk a little bit more about Sabitzer shortly, but I want to take the day chronologically if we can, because since
Yeah.
I woke up, I actually overslept today. I woke up a little bit later on and saw loads of notifications on my Twitter, like, what the fuck is going on here? So obviously the original news kind of broke out in the morning for the quotes coming out from Eric Ten Hag. Eriksen's out until April, May. And we already knew, of course, that Donny van der Beek is out until the end of the season. So very light, only two senior midfielders with Fred and Casemiro.
Yeah.
We're still in 4 competitions, playing a game every 3 days until March. It would have been absolutely disgraceful if United didn't sign a midfielder today in those kind of circumstances. Now, a lot of people, all of us thought it was unlikely we would even go for anyone. Like, even the most credible journalists, all of them, your Andy Mittens, Laurie Whitwell, saying very unlikely United are going to sign someone on the very last day. They're not even in talks with anyone. And this has just kind of come from absolutely nowhere. I thought like you said, I thought it was going to be in a Ighalo territory at the minute.
Exactly.
I was looking at possible options. Maybe like Gravenbach, Kesse. I don't even know.
He's the next.
Can he drink water? That's what I thought he was going to go
exactly. I mean, if you, I think he's the next best thing to Gravenberg in that Bayern Munich lineup. If you have to look into the midfield, like Sabitzer is the next best thing when it, if you have to compare him to Gravenberg. And yeah, I mean, we're not getting someone completely, of the Chinese league or a Saudi league or a league of that where we don't even know a player might have played in the Premier League decades ago and now is coming back at Manchester United.
And he's only playing because he's got a spare Sunday.
Exactly my point. So yeah, and 14 people in the chat. So please make sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. We have 1,082 subscribers right now, so it's transfer deadline day. Let's push it to 1,100. Lewis Jackson in the chat saying he's better than McTominay. He will end up at Chelsea though. Let's be serious. I think if Sabitzer does end up at Chelsea, it just means that they're not going for Enzo Fernandez. If they're not going for Enzo Fernandez, they might go for someone like a Sabitzer. But if Enzo Fernandez is coming to Chelsea, I don't think they would go in for Marcel Sabitzer as well, because they've. I mean, it is. I think it is certain that by the end of the transfer window, Chelsea will be signing another midfielder. They've just sold Jorginho to Arsenal, which I think was a very very bad move for Chelsea, because they pretty much handed the title to Arsenal now by selling them Jorginho, especially for 15 million. So yeah, I think definitely they're going in for a midfielder, and if it isn't Enzo Fernandez, it's definitely going to be Marcel Sabitzer. But I think it has come out in the courts as well that Sabitzer actually prefers United over Chelsea at the moment. So I mean, it's a very very decent option, and we might edge Chelsea in that aspect. We are doing much better than Chelsea at the moment, and I think for Sabitzer, if he does come to United, he comes in, with a certainty that he'll be getting regular minutes at United, because right now we don't have any other player who can play as an 8 in that role.
Yeah, it's a very good point, that. The numbers are growing in the chat. Get your comment in the comment section about Marcel Sabitzer.
24 people in the chat. Please make sure to interact. Please make sure to type out whatever you feel about this deal in the live chat.
Yeah, and let me know if you've watched him, if you know much about him. I have got a bits on him. Obviously, I don't watch Bayern Munich week in, week out, but I have seen bits. I've seen bits of him at Leipzig. And yeah, we'll discuss on the player again, like I said, shortly. But there's a couple of quotes from Ten Hag from his press conference that I just want to go through as well. So, in regards to Eriksen, he said it's quite clear Christian Eriksen brings top quality to our squad, and he has some specifics that are hard to replace, such as his impacts in the final third with his final ball. Anyone who knows Sabitzer, who's watched Sabitzer, very good in them kind of areas. He said, I think you can never fill that gap because every player has their own characteristics, identity. Another player will always fill in different way, but it doesn't mean you have to be less successful. And then he touched on Fred, saying Fred, he's playing together with Casemiro in the Brazilian squad. They're not a worst squad in the world. They have so many choices they can make, but they play together, and that tells something about the quality Fred has and what he can contribute to the team. Now, it's kind of demeanor and attitude, the way he was talking about that, didn't seem like he felt that United were going to go in for a player. So is that a bit of a smokescreen, do you think, from Ten Hag, or what do you think?
I mean, it could be a smokescreen. I think you never know. Ten Hag might have actually just pulled off a big brain move in that press conference right there, just to pull off one signing. And if he has done it, all credits to go out to him. Lewis Jackson in the chat saying they're signing everyone. That's where he will go. And Danish Iqbal Zagu saying, haven't seen him in recent time. Could you guys tell me about his recent form and at all anything about him? I mean, the biggest thing about Sabitzer is if you expect him what Eriksen does, you're going into the wrong territory. He is actually much more of a physical figure in that midfield. He likes to dictate his play in the midfield. He's a good ball carrier. He's able to carry the ball very, very nicely. He's able to link the midfield with the attack quite well. And he is able to generate spaces for the attackers. In his time during RB Leipzig, when they had that, breakout season with Timo Werner in there and the other players in there, he was able to create a lot of spaces for Timo Werner, and as we all know, Timo Werner is pretty much an engine when it comes to just running. He was able to have a field day in front of goal, and that's why he got a lot of goals. And Sabitzer is a big figure in Bundesliga. He was the captain for RB Leipzig before he went on to Bayern Munich. So he's definitely a very, very decent player. He has gotten regular minutes with the Austrian national team as well. So he's a very decent player, and I think under Ten Hag you might be able to see him reaching better heights, because he's not an old player. He's talented, he's got potential, and it was just a bad move for him at Bayern Munich. And I think when he comes to Manchester United, if he's able to adapt in time and just hit the ground running, I think overall we'll be in a much better position, and he could bring something much different to Eriksen, because like we've seen Eriksen struggling with physicality in the big games. Sabitzer doesn't really struggle with physicality in the big. He wouldn't struggle. He likes to assert himself in that midfield, and alongside Casemiro, I think Sabitzer can play much more of an advanced role in this lineup. And 54 people in the chat. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. And whatever you feel about this deal, Marcel Sabitzer most likely moving to Manchester United by the end of the transfer window. Please make sure to type it out in the live chat.
Yeah, it's crazy at the minute, getting constant updates. So smash a like on the video. and subscribe to the channel. It's deadline day, so we're going to be live for the full day, basically, not from the stream, but we'll have separate streams for the full day.
We'll be
when news
on throughout the day. Ignore David in the chat. Would Sabitzer be better than McTominay? Your thoughts? He will definitely be a big upgrade if I have to compare him to McTominay because he's got good passing range. Another thing about Marcel Sabitzer is he's very good at making interceptions and man marking. Like he doesn't let his runners get by. Like we've seen McTominay just being completely invisible in games, and he isn't able to track his runners when he's playing as an 8 or as a 6. Sabitzer is much better in while tracking his runners. And considering Ten Hag likes to press at the front foot, he's very good when if you're playing in a pressing lineup. And if some of you might remember when Rangnick was here at United, Sabitzer was another player who was being mentioned around that he wanted him to come to Manchester United.
Back in April, I think as far back as April, there was talks of because obviously Eriksen was on the list before we signed him, but he was on that list as well. He was included in that. Now there's a couple of things I want to touch on in regards to Sabitzer. So people are going to say, well, he's not playing for Bayern Munich, so why can he? How is he going to start for United? You're forgetting Bayern Munich have two of the best midfielders in the world in Joshua Kimmich and Goretzka starting in the midfield. That's another reason why Gravenbach can't get game time.
Exactly, he's not a bad player. He's not a bad player.
He's not a bad player at all. He's a very good player. He's very. A lot of his technical qualities are very similar to Beckham. Like off a free kick and corners, he's very good. Like technical ability, absolutely fabulous. He's actually played 15 games for Bayern Munich, so it's not like he's not played at all. He's been playing. He's match fit, but like I said, they've got two very strong midfielders starting in that squad. And from what I've seen, Sabitzer very versatile. He started his career on the wing, I believe, and then moved into a more central attacking role. And then Nagelsmann at Bayern Munich moved him more as like a box to box as an 8. But he's very intelligent. Very technically sound, and he's like Shreyas said there. The most important thing is very physical. So in terms of dealing with the Premier League, I think he'll adapt much better, and it'll be easier for him. Because that's what we need, isn't it? That's one of the criticisms of Christian Eriksen is the fact that he's great. He's very direct with the ball. He's a magician, but when you have them set transitions or 1v1s, and he can't keep up with it, can he?
Exactly. And like you mentioned, in the big games, you need someone who is much more well-rounded. And I think that's why in a team before the season even started, a lot of us were saying that Eriksen is a very decent player to have. He's a professional when it comes to playing against the low block. Eriksen is one of the best players to have as a midfielder. But you need players who are able to offer you something different. Like when you look at it, when Eriksen does come back, we'll have the freedom to actually play Eriksen in certain games. We'll have certain games where we might be able to play Sabitzer in a much more advanced and better role, because they both bring something different. And having players who play in the same position but they bring different profile and different personalities into the team in the games, that's I think one of the best things to have. That's what Ten Hag has been developing at the left back position as well with Malacia and Luke Shaw. Now he's doing it with Sabitzer and Eriksen, and like you mentioned, Eriksen is a very versatile player. He can play as an 8, he can play as a 10, he can play off a wing as well a couple of times. Sabitzer is just like that. He can play as an 8, he can play as a 10 as well, and if you want him to feature off the wing, he can play off the wing as well. So a lot of similarities between the two. And I think overall it's a very good deal for Manchester United. I mean, I think out of all the options that could have been available to us, I think Sabitzer is a very decent option to go with.
If you're open on the YouTube now, Shreyas, can you put a poll out? Is that possible? See if the people of United are happy with Marcel Sabitzer as a signing. Just give a simple yes or no, and interact. Let us know. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. We've got numbers pushing into this chat. So talk to me about Sabitzer. Obviously, with it being deadline day, more and more stuff kind of breaking. So this is from Fabrizio Romano. Marcel Sabitzer has told Manchester United through his agents that he'd be more than happy to join the club and Erik ten Hag's project. Now, a lot of these stumbling blocks you have with transfers, you have to have the player to agree to the move, the club to want the player, and the opposite club open to selling him. So United clearly want him. Sabitzer clearly wants to join, but then it's on Bayern Munich at the minute as to where they stand. Like, do they feel like they've got enough depth in them areas? Will they need him for the rest of the season in certain cup competitions? I'm not entirely sure because I don't know I don't watch Bayern obviously week in, week out, but he's clearly not getting game time there, so he can't be that much of a big miss for Bayern Munich, you would think.
I think I actually cannot put on a poll because it will mess up with the stream because I'm mirroring.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, just let us know. Let us know in the chat for sure, or if you had anyone else in mind, because today we're scratching our heads thinking everyone in our WhatsApp chat was like, who the fuck are we going to sign? Like, some of the names that were being mentioned were just like fucking knowing United, the way it's happened with the Gallo over the past couple of days and the last days of January, and some of the other ones that we've had have been absolutely shocking. So to get someone of Sabitzer's quality, by the way, can't be underestimated, can it?
I mean, you can just check yesterday's stream where the stream just started, and the moment Rabiot's name was mentioned, you could just see Sam's expression going wild. So it's a very decent option to go with when you look if you have to compare Sabitzer and Rabiot. And I think overall, you never know. It might be one of Ten Hag signings. If it might be a profile, it might be a player that Ten Hag might
I
have
think
looked
it does.
into.
I think it really seems like a 10X signing.
And I think this is the first season ever since Sir Alex has gone. This is the first season when every single signing that we made in this window so far is this player is what the manager wants. I mean, Lisandro Martinez is what the manager wanted. Malacia was what the manager wanted. Anthony was what the manager wanted. Weghorst was what the manager wanted. Sabitzer now is what the manager wanted. Casemiro was a player that Ten Hag actually wanted. So this is the first time, in so many years that the manager is so strong that he would rather not sign anyone than sign the wrong player, because we've seen that sometimes managers at United were backed into a corner that they had to just sign someone rather than just not having anyone to play in that position. But Ten Hag has just gone and said, if you can't get me this player, don't get me anyone.
Yeah. Well, one thing that hasn't been mentioned as of yet is his price tag, how much it's going to cost. Is it going to be a loan with an option to buy? Like, what do you think? What do you think his price tag would be? He was a bit, so it's a weird one. Isn't it? 28 years old. He's had Austrian Player of the Year before. Really good for Leipzig, but not played as much at Bayern Munich. I'm not sure on his contract details. I think he's got a couple of years on his deal, maybe until 2025. I think it is. So, what would you buy him, or would you just see how it goes? Like, how would you manage that situation?
The thing is, if United could buy him, if it's a deal which is available in around the 20 or 25 million locker, I would actually buy him, because then we can actually even if he doesn't work out, we can sell him on for a profit. We actually can sell him on for a profit. He's not a player who's entering into his late 30s now. He's like you mentioned, he's 28. Even if we have to sell him on, he'll just be 29. So if it's in the bracket of 20 to 25 million, I would rather buy him. If the price is being projected like 35 million or 45 million, I would say that let's just get him in on a loan. If it works out, we can go after him again in the summer window. But if it's an insane price, we can just play safe. We can just get a loan deal, at least get 6 months out of the player and see how it goes.
Well, Bayern Munich only bought him, just checking now, they bought him for 15 million euros. It's like 12, 13 million pound. So you could probably get him for a decent price. So you're talking around 20 million pound mark. Someone like Sabitzer's quality as depth, that's really, really good. It's honestly, people who haven't watched him, he's a decent player. He's a solid, decent player. And he's like one of Leipzig's best players with all the talents they have.
Even in the Euros for Austria, he did quite well. He did really well in that lineup. So, have we had an Austrian player before at United?
Austrian? Oh, that's a good question. Have we had an Austrian player before? We had no. That's a good question. Austrian player. I don't think we have at United.
This could be the first player ever.
Watch me be missing out on some massive player. But as far as I'm aware, no. Again, chat. People in the chat, let me know if we've had an Austrian player.
54 people in the chat. If you know any player in the history of Man United with Austrian ethnicity, please make sure to let us know.
Yeah, I can't understand, unless it's like a really older kind of generational one. I'm not entirely sure, but this guy is still German Super Cup winner, Austrian Cup winner, Austrian Second League champion. So he's won a couple of trophies along his way as well, and he's a seasoned pro. Every time I've watched him for his international team as well, he's been really, really good.
Yeah.
So is it surprising? Absolutely. I did not expect this one bit. No one did. Like, the names we was picking out, as we touched on before, Sabitzer didn't get mentioned once. So I didn't even know it was an opportunity. People talk about Gravenbach all this time, and then Sabitzer's probably sat there like, mate, I'm not getting game time either. Like, you know what I mean?
Just
I
get a
could do
move
with a
as
bit
well.
of that. But there's a reason why this transfer would be so important as well, Shreyas. We know how thin the squad is. I touched on it before. A game every 3 days now until March. So bringing someone in like this is absolutely vital. You can't play Fred every game, can you?
Yeah, and we got Ignoy David in the chat saying, seems like the mentality of the player is also a crucial aspect in Ten Hag's recruitment strategy, and Sabitzer looks like someone who has a winning mentality. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, the players he's brought in up until now, Casemiro has a winner mentality. Lisandro Martinez, if you have to look at his mentality, the moment he won the World Cup, the first thing that he come out and said was, "Now we go after the next one." And so definitely the mentality is there, the professionalism is there as well, and that's why our team is actually coming together as such a well-oiled unit because of these signings, because of this mentality. And you never know, we might be able to nick a couple of trophies because of that this season.
Yeah, well, it's fair to say we've had much worse loan signings, haven't we? Let's be completely honest. I have to feel slightly for Donny van der Beek, because you could feel this would be an opportunity for him, wouldn't it? If he wasn't out until the end of the season.
If he wasn't out until the next the rest of the season, he would have featured a lot for us. A lot. I think he would have been playing ahead of Fred in a lot of games. I think even in the he could have started in the Manchester derby as well, because he was starting to get much better and better. And just in that moment he got injured. So I mean, I actually feel bad for him, because finally people were able to see that Donny's coming into his own, might be able to break into the squad. Could we be possibly be seeing a Casemiro, Donny, or Bruno midfield? But once again, injuries haven't really gone his way. And yeah, now that Sabitzer is coming, I hope he works out. But I think if you look into it, next season we'll be very, very sorted. Because then you've got Eriksen, then you've got Sabitzer, and then you've got Donny. So you've got 3 players versatile enough to play in as an 8 or as a 10. So it's a good, that's a good position to be in.
Versatility is key as well. We've spoken about this, haven't we? With Pep Guardiola does the same thing. He plays players in numerous different positions, and that keeps the squad morale much better, because when Lisandro's out, you could play Luke Shaw there, so he's still getting game time in a different position. It's a bit so. I'm actually looking at the positions he's played. So he's actually played 15 games as a defensive midfielder, 11 games as a midfielder like central, like an 8, and then 11 games as an attacking midfielder. So you can tell he's super intelligent just by looking at that.
Definitely.
And obviously Bayern Munich, other than monopolization, because that's what they kind of do with the league, they go and buy the big talents from other squads, so they can't compete with them. Other than that, they obviously saw something in him, and for a price of £15 million, like euros, it's insane, that, isn't it? For someone like him.
I mean,
absolutely nuts.
He finished second with Leipzig, and he was the club captain, so they got the club captain for 15 million. Just 15 million.
Top scorer at some point as well for Leipzig, I believe.
Top assister as well.
So yeah, it's crazy at the minute. We are, like I said, we're getting constant development, so make sure you smash a like on that video. We're going to be breaking live. We'll have a few shows today up until the window. We're going to have a very late one where me and Sam are live for the last hour of the transfer window. Hopefully by then the Sabitzer deal would have been done, but I'm guessing around the 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock mark will probably be when the things start heating up a bit more, or when it gets confirmed. That's a bit so. I'm just hoping we don't hear a line coming out of Bayern Munich. That's the one time we need to keep an eye on, in it, Shreyas, that they come out saying no. Bayern wants keeps a bit so, deal done, closed, deals off. That's the last thing we got to see in it.
Yeah. And Colbert Marquez in the chat saying, great timing by Ten Hag to make this deal. Chelsea is very busy by the Enzo move.
Yeah, and on that as well, I don't even know what's going on. Have they signed Enzo yet? Is it still?
I don't know. I mean, I think the last thing that was mentioned in that deal was that Chelsea have put in a bid of about 105 million. But what I feel is by the next hour, or by the next couple of hours, they would have just paid his release clause, 120 million. I think
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy how much money. I've spent like 300 million.
They've already spent 380 million this window, and this is except the Enzo move. If the Enzo move goes by, they would have spent more than 500 million in one window itself. That's
got to break the window, any window in general, in terms of
any window.
How much has been spent?
Exactly.
That is insane.
PSG didn't spend this much when they signed Mbappe and Neymar. They spent much more money than that.
It is mad. Todd Bowles is doing a madness in a minute. That's another thing. Would not surprise me at all if we hear in a couple hours time Todd Bowler has gone back in for a bit, so he wants to, because he's just buying everyone. Anyone
Exactly.
who's linked with anyone is
Yeah.
buying them. So
If
that's the
someone
last
is
thing we want
linked
as
with
well, isn't it?
us, if someone is linked with Arsenal, if someone is linked with Liverpool, they just go in and buy that player
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
moment.
I
Yeah.
can't believe there's some of the business that the clubs are doing around us. Let's go through them together, right? So Chelsea, they've got Badiashile and Nkunku going in for Enzo Fernandez, Gusto
Guardiol.
from Leon, Guardiola. Are they signing Guardiola in the
I think
summer?
they
Is
they
that
are, I think they pretty
there's a
much,
strong links with him, isn't
yeah,
there,
yeah,
at the minute?
Guardiol in there as well.
Guardiola. Am I missing it? Gusto said from Leon.
Jao
Who else is he
Felix.
going for? Jao Felix. Said Badiashile. I feel like I'm missing. There's
Modric.
one who's
Modric.
Mudrick, yeah, 80 million. How can you forget that? Fucking hell. Probably others that you've got as well. Arsenal signing Jorginho, 12 million. Mental. Like, that's come out of nowhere. And
Yeah,
apparently there's a third bid going in for Moises Casido, I've
yeah,
heard, 75
yeah.
million.
And they're in for Casido
Um,
as well. Chelsea are in for Moises Casido as well.
Chelsea probably still in for him. Like, it's mad. It's mad. This is really changing the dynamics of how windows work. Because January, I know sometimes you get the odd big one, you
Yeah,
Fernando
but you
Torres for
you
50
never
million.
see this amount of money. This amount of
No,
money
no,
is never
nowhere
spent.
near.
Nah, never.
No, yeah,
Egnoy
nowhere
David,
near.
Egnoy David in the chat saying, guys, what can we really expect from Sabitzer at United? You can actually expect us dominating the midfield in the upcoming games. We might
Mm,
not be. Uh, I think you could be seeing a little rustiness when it comes to passing, but when you have to look at it, on the basis of physicality, on the basis of dominance, we'll be able to assert ourselves much more in the opposition half, and you can see us playing a much more of a high line with Sabitzer because he's very mobile. He likes to move around a lot and he likes to generate spaces. And one of the things that we miss out on with Fred and McTominay both is that uh, McTominay is not mobile. McTominay, he's stuck in his position. He doesn't really move around that much. And with Fred, the thing is, even though he wins the ball back a lot, his passing isn't that great. So with Sabitzer, you get that
yeah,
mobility. With Sabitzer, you get that vision as well. So overall, I think this deal might actually work because he fits into the system that Ten Hag wants from an eight. A person who can
yeah.
press up. He likes to press on the front foot. He likes to move into spaces. Likes to link the midfield and the attack. And the best part of them all, Bruno gets much more time on the ball and spaces to move into.
Yeah, I suppose the good news coming out of this is this is a correspondent for Chelsea who's got very good ties.
Yeah.
Kinsella, sorry. Chelsea are not interested in hijacking Manchester United's move for Marcel Sabitzer. I feel like that Enzo deal, they're really focused on
Yeah,
that.
I think
So you
they'll sign
can't really
Enzo
see
then.
him
I
straying
think
away.
it just means that they're
Yeah,
gonna sign Enzo. It just means that they're gonna sign
yeah,
Enzo. And
yeah. And
I mean, a big question right now is if this deal works out, if Sabitzer has, a very, very good run in the Prem with United, do we go in for Frankie de Jong next summer?
well, I don't know. I don't even want to think that far forward at the minute. But I don't know. It depends. It depends because you can still have him for depth. It's not as if you've got a load of midfielders screaming from the rooftops, is it? Look at
But then
Manchester
we will
City.
have, because we'll have Donny, we'll have Ericsson, and then we'll have
I,
Sabitzer as
I,
well.
I think Donny will be gone. To be
Yeah,
honest, I think you could use Ericsson with rotation with Bruno Fernandes. You could dovetail that a little
yeah,
bit, and then bring Sabitzer rotating with Fred, but. Yeah, De Jong, I don't know. I don't know what happens to it.
I
Apparently,
think,
the profile that he's looking at, what Samuel Lucas tweeted before, is that Ten Hag wants a younger profile in that
yeah,
midfield. So someone like Enzo Fernandez, for example, he would probably want a player like that. But with him being gone, the only other ones out there are like your De Jongs or Bellingham's,
Bellingham.
and the competition for Bellingham's going to be. I don't see us, even if we get top four. I
Yeah,
don't see us getting someone like a Jude Bellingham.
yeah,
I really don't, because I think if Pep Guardiola decides I want that player, he'll get him like that within
exactly.
seconds.
Lewis Jackson
So
saying
it's
City still win the league though. I mean, yeah, I mean they're chasing the title now. They've got two fixtures against Arsenal left, which I think that they'll be able to win. So, yeah, I think overall, moving into the later stages of this tournament, I think City will win
yeah,
the league. I think when it comes to fixture scheduling, it has been much more kinder towards Arsenal if you have to compare it
yeah,
towards City and us because our fixtures have been so jam packed. We're playing uh, almost like one game every 3 days. So, and Arsenal pretty much had a 1 week break, and we had to play right
yeah,
after Crystal Palace after a day. So, I mean, it is gonna get to them after a while when they also
yeah.
have fixtures coming in left and right. And except that
This,
they've got Cancelo going out to Bayern as well. I mean, who
yeah,
expected that? Who expected Cancelo to
yeah.
leave this
And
window?
let's be honest, if they really wanted, Cancelo could probably play centre mid and fill in from there if they're lacking depth. So I think it'd be fine by Munich for that. Just very quickly, we've got 1,089 subscribers. We're 11 off 2,000. So I think there's about 50% of you who are tuned in now.
11 from 1,100, Nick. We're still off 2,000.
Oh, did I say 2,000 then? Wow. Yeah. I mean, if you want to push it up to that, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, brains boggled, absolutely boggled. 1,089. We're 11 off 1,100. So if you're in that percentage, 50% who haven't subscribed yet, who are currently watching this show, please click that red button. It means more than you know, and support the community. We'll be going live all day for breaking news regarding transfers, in-depth analysis of Sabitzer, other targets that we'll link with as well, which we've already touched on. And as we just mentioned, the latest news: Chelsea are not interested in hijacking a move, so that's very interesting. I've just seen Gerard Romero, again, bit of a nutcase when it comes to journalism, saying that Bernardo Silva wants to leave City now as well. Apparently,
Bernardo Silva wants to leave City every single window. I mean, every single window, every summer window, he wants to leave to Barcelona. So it's nothing major. Ignore David in the chat saying the midfield dominance thing sounds good. Lewis Jackson saying Cancelo has blocked City and a few associates on Instagram. I mean, if the loan to buy deal doesn't get exercised and if he has to come back to City, it would be a very awkward situation to be in.
Yeah. If you guys want a bit more positive news as well as Sabitzer potentially signing, or a very good chance of Sabitzer signing for United, Ten Hag said today Jadon Sancho and Martial set to return against Nottingham Forest tomorrow night, which obviously we'll be live for, by the way. So if you want to come tune in for a watch along, 7 o'clock team news live on TikTok and YouTube, make sure you come and join us for that. But Ten Hag, set Sancho and Martial to join the squad back tomorrow. Excited for that, Shreyas?
Yeah, and Ignore David in the chat saying seems like Sabitzer would be a Manchester United player soon. So cheers, guys. Definitely very, very happy about it. And I mean, I'm really happy to see Sancho back now. I mean, I really want to see now whatever training program that he was out on. Hopefully it has worked out well for him. We definitely need to see how he is on the pitch. You never know, he might have better pace now. Considering how he's looking extremely fit, and hopefully he has a very good game, because we're crying out for options to actually come in and have an impact as a winger, because right now I think Antony is getting better week in week, but if someone can come in and have the same impact that Rashford does of the wing, we'll be very, very in a very, very good position, because then we'll be able to flood the opposition from either flank. Right now our left wing looks like the much more deadliest flank to actually attack the opposition from. So if Sancho is able to come back and do the same, I think whether it's Weghorst or whether it's Martial, we'll be looking at a much more clinical and much better Manchester United team when it comes to going into the attacking third.
It's crazy, isn't it? So as we mentioned with Jadon Sancho before, he's missed 16 games now, I think, after the Reading game. And that's almost half a Premier League season, Shreyas.
Exactly. And a lot of us were thinking that, he might be unveiled as a new signing in this window itself.
Well, the last minute breaking news.
Jadon Sancho's back.
Back with 10 kilograms of weight off him. He's a new man. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise you at all, would it? Like either renewing Rashford's contract or David De Gea's contract and announcing that just before the window's about to shut.
He's
United
back.
Done that numerous times before. Yeah. Look who's back. Lewis
Jackson saying Wednesday's game is pointless. I think I'll take my cat for a walk instead.
Yeah, it is pointless. It is. Yeah. But you say that, but then stranger things have happened in football. You still got to go win it, and you still got to get into the final. Ultimately, it'd be Ten Hag's first final. That's exciting, man. I think so. Yeah, I'm absolutely fucking. I'm buzzing with that, and it's just confirmation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're still in a lot of competitions this season. I mean, every single competition we've started in, we're still in those competitions. We're still in the Europa League. We're still in a very decent spot in the Prem. We're pretty much in the final of the Carabao Cup. We're still in the FA Cup as well. So you never know. We might actually. I think we come off with at least one trophy. Like one trophy is a given now. The way I'm feeling, how Ten Hag is progressing in the competitions, you never know. We might be able to pick another one in a way.
Some of the things that have happened this season, honestly, including this Sabitzer transfer, by the way, have just been mind-blowing. Some of the shit that's gone on. Like, you could have never predicted some of the stuff. The situation with Ronaldo, the Glazers selling up, the transfer strategies, the way that's gone, the players that we bought, the players who we were in for, in your Arnautovic's and your Rabiot's. The way this window was gone right into the end, not one player mentioned. We signed Weghorst, who we weren't even linked with. No one mentioned Weghorst, went and got him. I think it's the first time in a window where, look, it's not amazing business, but Weghorst is a bit so would be two players who Ten Hag wants, who Ten Hag can work with. Because obviously he's identified them, and it's two players who it's not leaked. It's not been like boom.
Exactly.
I think the only deal I can remember, Shreyas, the only deal I can remember is Donny van der Beek when it was quiet. No one heard anything about it, and then we signed him out of nowhere, didn't we?
Exactly. Yeah, that has to be one. And except that, I think this is the first time that we haven't been linked with like 500 players. And we haven't been linked with anyone, and we've managed to come out with 2 signings. So for me, that's one of the biggest positives. Because
Go on, carry on. I'll tell you in a sec.
I still remember last season during the winter window, we were linked with Vlahovic, we were linked with Declan Rice, we were linked with Yuri Tillemans, Haidara, Boubacar Kamara. There were millions of players that we were linked with, and we managed to sign no one.
Yeah. I just seen a picture of it. It said when Todd Bowley comes in for Sabitzer, and it's a guy stroking his leg, sat in the car like with a creepy looks at the car to the camera. Sorry. Oh God! Wow, all going off in a minute. Another a bit of breaking news for United in regards to youngster Dijon Bernard has signed for Portsmouth on loan for the rest of the season. So that's another player that's gone out. You had Charlie McNeil, I think, who signed for Newport. Was it?
Yeah.
Newport, and then we've had Charlie Savage, who's gone to Forest Green on loan. So we've actually pushed quite a few youngsters out as well. It'd be good for him to get game time, wouldn't it, Shreyas?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's one of the best moves that Ten Hag has made, that he's actually looked into, getting the academy players out on loan by the time the transfer window ends, because, they need development. They're not getting regular minutes at United. So a loan deal would definitely do them a lot of favors. And, hopefully they come back in much better form and much more experienced after getting that exposure in League One or a championship side. Lewis Jackson saying, yeah, we got rid one of the biggest leaks in the dressing room, Lingard and Pogba. I mean,
oh yeah, that's what I mean.
We haven't seen one leak under Erik ten Hag. If you see one leak under Erik ten Hag, that player would, be out of the club. Out of the club.
Yeah,
gone. Terminate contract.
Back of the head, fuck off. Get out of the club. That's what I mean. The contrast from under Ragnick, the players that we had at the time, some of that, obviously some of them were season pros, but we still had Ronaldo, Cavani, Pogba, Matic, Lingard, like 10 players. And do you remember when Ragnick said as well, he was like, listen, this is open heart surgery.
Exactly.
You're going to have to get rid of these players. You're going to need 10 players.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, obviously as fans, we kind of agreed with it. It was like, yeah, to be fair, we probably do. But the board were like, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. No, I don't think it's that big of a job. We don't need 10. But we do. In reality, look, in the summer, we signed 5 players. Malacia, Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, Lisandro Martinez, and Antony.
Yeah.
We could do with another 5 players.
Exactly. And to be very honest, I think we're just three signings away from a title. Just 3 signings we need, and we can actually go to the title, because we need are 2. I think 1 defensive midfielder. Now that we've got Sabitzer, I think that's a good position that we have fueled up on. Except that I think we do need another striker as the next season comes in, and we need a backup fullback. Except that if Maguire leaves, probably getting another centre back for decent option to have on the bench. Yeah, but except that I think we are very close now. I think
with it, you put a killer number 9 in that squad, like a Haaland or something like that.
I mean, if Juventus does go down, which I think as the things are progressing with them and as the investigations comes to a close, I think they will be relegated next season. It looks much more likely. I would actually swoop in for most of their players, because they've got some serious talent in that team. Vlahovic, I think, would be a beast in this Erik ten Hag lineup. Like, imagine a front line with Rashford, Vlahovic and Antony, or Rashford, Vlahovic or Sancho. I mean, it would be that front 3 gets you goals. And
is that your number 1 shout? That
Vlahovic, yes.
Is that who you go for? Yeah, Vlahovic.
Yeah, and it seems like a much more realistic move as well, because if you look into it and the way he plays, he is a target man. He's got that physicality that Weghorst wants, and he's a very clinical finisher. And except that, a defensive mid that could be a very good option to actually get off Juventus would be Locatelli. He would be a very decent option to have as backup for Casemiro. I think he's very decent, and he can do a really good job in the Prem as well, considering. I think
age profile is important for that backup as well, because you can have an understudy technically.
Exactly.
Similar to what Chouamini would have been under Thinger, where you can slowly bring him in. Obviously, Casemiro's probably going to be at this level for the next
4
2,
years.
3, 4,
4
5
years.
years. Yeah, no idea. But yeah, that'd be an interesting position to take a look at. Centre back, midfield, definitely need a striker. That's the main target in the summer. But yeah, the target for today, apparently, guys, is Marcel Sabitzer. So make sure you smash a like on the video.
1,093
subscribe to the channel.
7 away.
Yeah, we're seven away from 1,100. So people who are watching now, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Like I said, we're going to be live multiple times today with different various updates. Obviously, Sabitzer is getting closer and closer. So turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. So when we do go live, it'll just pop up on your phone. And yeah, obviously more updates come on this, but the more we'll discuss it. But as it stands right now, Sabitzer very close to moving to Manchester United. Just kind of waiting to hear from the Bayern Munich side, but a lot of credible journalists saying it's likely to happen, which is mad, which we did not think would be
might be on his way out as well. You never really know. A lot of stuff coming out about him that he might be on a move away from Manchester United because he's fallen down the pecking order under Ten Hag.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a reason why Pellistri hasn't actually left on loan.
Yeah. Well, he said he's keeping Pellistri now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're happy with that, aren't you, Shreyas?
Yeah. I mean, he could. I think he'll definitely be featuring tomorrow. I hope he features tomorrow of the start. And, probably, I think he's a much better option to have in comparison to Elanga because I think he's much more technical and much more skilled on the ball in comparison to Elanga.
I agree. Absolutely agree with that. He's more of he's already looks like a more complete player, and Elanga's just more of an athletic kind of, just seems like a runner basically.
Yeah,
he's got all right quality on the ball, but Pellistri, he's a couple of cameos that he's had. He's been bright as fuck. Like his close touch, a little bit like Ahmad in that sense. He's quicker than Ahmad, but his close touch, his little link up passing, really really good. I like what I've seen from him. So look, Garnacho, Ahmad, and Pellistri in the summer, definitely something to look at as understudies for your Rashfords, Brunos, and Dinger, I would say, because they all look like talented players. But yeah, I think that's it for now, guys. Obviously, if anything breaks, like we said, we will go live. Let's see how many likes do we got on the video. 24 likes. So thank you very much for that. Again,
35 likes.
Pushing. Oh, 35 likes. Never mind. Even better. Like we said, subscribe to the channel. We've got a massive community on here. We've got loads of lads on who will constantly be on throughout the day on different various shows and stuff. We have live watch-alongs, previews, reviews of matches, transfer shows, breaking news, literally everything. And check us out on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, Real Reds Talk, or just look at the graphic at the bottom. Shreyas, thank you for coming on. Do you have anything else to say before we kind of head off?
Yeah, please make sure to stick around the channel. We're gonna be live at I don't know how many times today because Sabitzer is gonna get announced as well. We might have some outgoings. The transfer window is gonna be crazy now. The way it is progressing, we'll be seeing a lot of signings being pulled off by Premier League clubs. So please make sure to stick around the channel. We're gonna be live for pretty much the entire day today. And yeah, we're on 1,093 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please make sure to subscribe and help us get past 1,100 today itself. And if you're happy with this Sabitzer signing, make sure to interact in the comment section as well.
Yeah, all communication with my family's been cut off today. I'm just focused on transfers and breaking news only. So I will be live for you guys. Don't worry. If anything breaks, come and join us, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.